Hello. My window is currently open next to me because there is a fly in the room and I am willing it to go out that little crack. It's not listening. Yet. Hello, I'm Annabelle. Welcome to the video. I'm sorry if there's buzzing. I'm doing my best trying to send the pathway to the fly. But yes, hello. Welcome to this. Welcome to come in. Hello. Listen, be with me, spend some time introspecting, going through thoughts, running through life. That tends to be what I make videos on. It's what I feel comfortable making videos on. And I always just hope that there's maybe some level of humanity that you can relate to in what I'm saying. Because I think that's nice. Anyway. Hi. My little rabbit is off to the side here. I don't know if no, he's just out of frame. You can't really see him. But yes, his name's Percy. So if you see a little bunny hop through, he might try to eat this plant. He does that quite often. But yeah, it's a pretty gloomy day outside, and I have been kind of mulling over where I'm at currently and just the place that I'm at in my cycle, and feelings are coming up and everything. And I can't help but want to share. So I will. Yeah, I think I looked at my last, the title of my last video, and it's about the whole change thing that's going on. And I don't know, I think July was pretty intense this year. I've been in my own kind of cycle since March, April, since the beginning of the astrological year. Wow, I'm gonna have my own little wind turbine. Awesome. Oh, come on, babe, you're so close. Oh, it's on the right window. It's so close. I don't really want to have a wind turbine. If I just leave it alone, maybe it'll happen. But yeah, bit of my own little wave. I'm sure it's the wave of a lot of people, especially in Southern Hemisphere, because I feel like this beautiful masseuse told me, she gave me a little prophetic thing. It was way more than a massage. That essentially this kind of cycle, initiation, whatever it ends up being, is mapping with the seasons. And that's definitely how it's feeling. And we're at the late winter, beginning spring season, and I'm feeling a little bit lost again, and I am feeling a new level that I need to push to or grow to or expand beyond. I'm at another threshold. That seems to be a bit of a theme this year, of reaching thresholds of identity, personality, capability, whatever it is. I am figuring it out, and yeah, I'm figuring it out. But it's quite overwhelming. What I have been reflecting on, where I'm kind of placing myself at the moment, is I started this kind of year pretty on struggle street, and then March, April had a pretty big depressive episode. I'm, as much as it was big, I haven't had one in a few years, and it was a lot of mounting pressures. April, I think everyone had their own flavor of whatever the hell's going on. April, and as well as July, the cardinal season seemed to be hitting this year. I don't know particularly why though. Is it Saturn? Maybe it's me, Saturn being in Aries. Maybe that's it. Maybe. I haven't actually thought much about it astrologically, which is odd for me, but it is what it is. Yeah, coming out of it, I actually feel really, and during it even, there was some kind of level of awareness through it, that it was very different than, I think the most thing, the closest thing I can relate it to was something I went through in 2018, where I had that level of just questioning and darkness and depth. And looking back now, it very much was a time of hollowing out, insides and like sorting through a lot of like roots and debris of just, I don't know, I speak very metaphorically, so like it just felt like going to such a level of emptiness and like void through winter, because there's just, honestly, it feels like a wider arc of me realizing and having this motivation for what feels like the first time in my life towards doing something or becoming someone, having a vision of like life purpose kind of stuff, like big things. I'm 27, Saturn return's gonna be coming in like a year and a half. It's all very timely. And yeah, I've been really supported. I've got a lot of practitioners that were able to help me through that moment. It's very different than where I was at like 7 years ago, maybe longer. It's longer now, 8 years ago. Very different, but in also, I guess, in like psychological thematic pattern ways, it's very the same. And I think people with like mental illness, mental health struggles would relate to this. I think like, especially if you're like someone more prone to like depression or like anxiety or apathy, when you go through those cycles, I definitely feel, and I know this is probably like a common experience, you become familiar with like where your mind goes and how you become in those phases and what you kind of need to be able to get out of them, and like the ways, I don't know, also the ways you can like use that darkness as like kind of a point of like alchemy. And like I don't want to get too into it because I think mental health and like spirituality get really involved sometimes in ways that I don't really know fully how to speak on. It's just my personal experience with it, but it definitely felt that way. It definitely felt purposeful, and I felt more aware than I've ever felt before, and I really felt like I was able to like be there and be present and like engage with my psyche in the ways that it was challenging me, in the ways that it was blocking me, in the ways that it was trying to keep me safe in a lot of ways. But that's like that's not really what I want to talk about today. What I'm trying to point out is that there was this point, I'd been in similar places before. I really feel comfortable getting myself out of those places and getting myself back to equilibrium, getting myself back to a place where I feel comfortable, I feel content, I'm in my life, I feel balanced. That is quite a normal, well, maybe it's not normal, but it feels very familiar and it feels very comfortable for me to be in that process of like picking myself up after a down. And I'm now kind of in this spot, this like liminal transition phase. Again, it's like mirroring that late winter coming into early spring, this like liminal transition phase that I've been in the plateau, I've been in like I've come back to neutral, I've come back to grounding, but I'm coming back to it with like having been in a place where like I've realized a lot of parts of me that were holding me back, kind of done away with them in a lot of ways, and in that process uncovered a lot of like hopes and dreams and ambitions and desires about my life that I haven't felt. I think maybe there's been an inner knowing in my life, like there's been an inner knowing of like, you're gonna help people, you need time to be able to sort out your stuff, let yourself be, that kind of thing. Like I've had like a deeper sense of like my path since I was like 15, 16 kind of thing, but I've always known that it's just going to take time and it's not to rush, and it's just in its own process, and you do you, girl, and it's been relieving. It doesn't mean I've not made mistakes, it doesn't mean I've been a perfect person, it doesn't really mean anything other than like it's something that I've had deep in my core. But I've come out of this kind of like winter, hollowed out, introspective time with these like hopes and dreams and motivations and ideas that I just haven't had before. I've been a little bit directionless in my life at this point. I'm 27. I think that's normal. I think it's normal to like spend a lot of your 20s like fucking around, finding out and not knowing what you're doing and trying things on and doing all that. So I don't judge myself for that, but it's like, yes, this year I'm in this like late winter, early spring, but I can't also help but feel like I'm in this like late winter, early spring of like my life in like a broader term as well. I don't know, it's just a feeling. It's just an existential sense, I guess. And I am having a new kind of internal crisis. And it's, again, people with maybe like mental health or like a volatile upbringing, or people that are like used to like chaos, or like, you know what I mean? If you have a nervous system that's used to being unsettled and like you're used to being in crisis mode and you're used to like fixing life and fixing things, I'm now at a point where like that's no longer my job. I now have like a dream that I want to actualize. I have like this thing that I want to rise to. I have this purpose that I genuinely feel like I want to fulfill, and I have never seen myself as that kind of person. I've struggled with achieving. I've struggled viewing myself as successful. I've, like, in terms of anything beyond the realm of like living, because I think I come from my biggest achievement being healing from volatility and a lot of chaos, and I guess coming from a negative space up to like normal. That's my biggest achievement in my life, is like for the past like 5-6 years having like moved to a new state and started my new life and made new friendships and healed old relationships, and like that's my biggest achievement, is like coming out from like a lot of chaos and like reaching a sense of normalcy. And now there's this extension of like, well, now you know who you want to be for the rest of your life, and now you have all these hopes and dreams and like all of these like ideas of actualizing like the best version of yourself that can like help so many people. And it feels also kind of like alien to even say, because there's also a level of just like and I am realizing I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this bit. And I know this is the thing that we all struggle with, and I think that's like the point, obviously, because I don't think anything as dramatic, important, I don't know. I don't think like your life's purpose is supposed to be an easy thing to like venture out into. And everyone's way of doing it is different. And I think everyone's approach is supposed to be different. Everyone's path is supposed to be different. Again, we can get as existential as we want, babe. But for me, personally, I'm really struggling with mediating what I'm supposed to do at the moment, because I feel kind of like I have like a sense, I have this felt kind of sense of where I'm at, and then I also have like the things that my mind are telling me. And as soon as I say that out loud, obviously the answer is like, don't listen to your mind, Annabelle, listen to your body, like just like fucking feel it, and then just like go with the flow and like listen to your intuition and blah, 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 blah. That's a part of the problem, is that like my mind is one kind of intervening to be my greatest enemy at the moment, and it's also telling me like, it's telling me all the things that I know, and it's telling me all the things that I know are the right things to do, and like the things that I should listen to. And it is just, it's telling me to listen to my body, but it's also the thing that is making the most noise, and it's the thing that is like getting in the way of me actually truly listening to my body. Because the thing that's also in the middle of all of that is like fear. Like fear and this dread of this process feeling like one of the most meaningful things that's come into my life individually, that I've known. Like that I've that I can reflect on, I don't think anything's ever felt this important, truly. And I don't know how to process that. Like, I don't know how to process that. What do you mean? What do you mean I think I could become someone that is like, someone that I would admire? Like, what do you mean, like, I have, like, a vision of myself being something greater than what I am now? And it's something that I, like, being someone that, like, I would admire and, like, I would look up to and, like, I would be proud to be. Not that I'm not proud to be who I am at the moment, but do you know what I mean? Like, in this greater purposeful sense. And it's also not lost on me that it's like, it's not going to happen this year. It's not going to happen because I'm starting this cycle and I'm feeling this winter, spring, and, like, all of a sudden in summer I'm going to be blooming, blossoming, the best version of myself I've ever been. But I'm clocking that it's, like, maybe the beginning of that journey. Like, this is where I'm, like, planting the seeds, and this is maybe the first cycle of planting the seeds, and this is the first cycle of the first bloom of, like, many years to come. And I'm ready and, like, willing for this process to take decades. I've already been, like, ready and willing for the process to take decades at this point, but, you know, I'm in no rush and I'm in no hurry, but I also, it feels really foreign to me to have these hopes that I can't help but want to rush towards it and try to, like, grasp it and try to grab it, because, like, what if it goes away? And, like, shouldn't I be doing anything? Like, shouldn't I be doing something? Shouldn't I be doing everything? And, like, I know I've always looked at hustle culture and I've been like, who the fuck would fall for that? That's, like, so fucking dumb. Like, of course you should just, like, listen to your body and, like, be chill. Like, don't push yourself. Like, why the fuck would you wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning just to look at stocks? I think I've probably said that as, like, with a friend on, like, a girls' night once. Because, like, girl, if you love stocks, if you love money, if you love finance, get your bag. But do you know what I mean? I mean in the sense that I've looked at hustle culture and I've always thought that I would, like, be free from, like, the guise of, like, action your plan now and, like, do everything you can and give it all you've got. And, like, I never thought that I would fall victim to that kind of rhetoric in, like, just the larger threads of society, because I've always been someone up until this point that's felt very comfortable with my life. I have a job that I love, and it's not a career job, but it's like a job that supports me, and then it supports my work-life balance, and I have a relationship that I love, and I do have passions that I love looking into, and, like, I have a life that I love, and I've been so content with it that I have thought, like, I don't think I'll ever enter that world of wanting to expand bigger than this. But now there's this feeling, and I don't know what to do with it. And my first inclination is to try and push, because some way, somehow, those narratives got in my brain of, like, that's what you're supposed to do. It's also, I think, the things that have been modeled to me. It's what my parents, like, couldn't help but tell me. Like, you know, there's a lot that goes into that. And I feel, it's what I was trying to say before, like, I feel like this winter I started so many fires. Every fireplace is a little bit fucking different. I feel like, at least the last fireplace I had, it was, like, way harder for some reason to start a fire. This one's been easy, but there were so many ways that I could get it right, but there was, like, one way that I continually, if it went wrong, it would be this way that I got a fire wrong. I'd, like, start with, like, kindling, sticks, twigs, whatever, move up to, like, branches that are, like, maybe that thick. And if I was too lazy to go out to, like, my wood stock and get, like, a small, medium type of log, maybe I'd have just some of the bigger logs that were already next to my fireplace. There would be this moment where this deeper sense of me would be like, I know it's cold, but go out and get a medium block. Like, go out and get, like, one of those small to medium logs, maybe, like, this big, because that's how you're going to start a successful fire. Like, the fire is too small, it doesn't have any coals, it's just on twigs and leaves. But I, like, a few times, and it would always just be this same fucking thing that I would do, I just get one of the smaller, bigger logs and just be like, the fire's hot, it'll be fine. And then I'd leave it, and 20 minutes later the fire would be out, because I don't know physics, don't come to me for this, metaphor. Like, what I can see and what I can understand is that, like, fire is alchemy in a process, I believe. Like, that's how I view it. It's this thing that starts from fucking nothing other than, like, heat, and it's turning natural resource into carbon, like, it's burning through it, and that's producing a flame, and it's eating oxygen. It's this whole process, and it's so lovely to watch. But when you look at, like, the components of, like, and how I relate to it is, like, I feel like I'm that kindling fire. I feel like there's no previous coals from the night before. I've just spent all of autumn and winter, like, clearing out the hearth. I've been clearing out all of the dust. I've been getting out the old coals. It is like a completely blank slate, and I'm starting with sticks and some dry grass and some leaves, and I'm piling it on top, and I get to this point where I've, like, been like, okay, now I have, like, a nice fire. Like, it's lit, it's running, all of the little twigs and logs are aflame, they're light, there's no dry patches, there's no wet patches, whatever. But I want it to be bigger. I want it to be a fire that warms my house. I want it to be, you know, I want it to start. And so I will just, like, in those moments, in those times, I will just, like, put a log that's, like, way too big and just kind of, like, cross my fingers and fucking hope that it takes. And it never does. It never does, because there's not enough resources. There's no bed of coals. There's no larger, like, slightly larger bridge that the fire will feed on, that will come alight. And then, you know, it's that, I don't have the right word for it, but do you know the painting that I'm trying to picture? Like, if you've started a fire, you know what I'm talking about. It's just the bridge of having such a small kindling fire, having to take on the job of trying to, like, alchemize this huge thing of this huge lump of, like, a quarter of a tree, and put that into, like, make that coal. Like, for that little fire that's, like, currently running on twigs, it needs to be able to sustain itself while it's also going through the process of, like, alchemizing this log, lighting this log, eating this log. And the balance just isn't right, and it doesn't work, and it's overloaded, and it dies. And I feel like I'm at that point. Like, I feel like I'm at this point of, like I'm having these kind of, like, visions and metaphors coming into my head, and I recognize it, and I'm like, okay. And when I try to push myself, I tend to lean more into just, like, freaking out. I go into, like, this freeze, and I go into this avoidant response, and then the shoulds and the coulds and the critic and dialogue of, like, again, this, like, mind of mine knowing all the things that I should be doing, or that I could be doing, or, like, placing expectation where in a moment of my life where I have nothing to compare it to personally, especially when it comes to success or achievement. I don't know what I look like when I succeed. I don't know what it looks like when I action something successfully. I don't know. But, like, the mind searches for safety, it searches for security, it searches for known in whatever way that it can. And I can recognize where I'm at, and my mind can tell me all these could, shoulds, woulds, and I cannot listen to them. And maybe I can try to tap into, like, a deeper sense of wisdom, and it can tell me to listen to my body, and then I try to listen to my body, and, like, I'm afraid. Like, I'm afraid because of what this means to me. I'm afraid of, like, succeeding because I don't know what that is. I'm afraid of failing because maybe I won't get another shot. All of these, like, I understand these thoughts aren't logical, they're not rational. Like, life will always find a way. Like, you will always find a way in life. I know all these things. This is the thing, is that there's the knowing, and then there's the being, and there's the doing, and there's the whatever else. And I also know that like the fundamental thing that can get me through this is like trust in myself and like trust in the process and like surrender and all of that. And it's, I don't know what to do. And that's kind of where I'm like oscillating between. And like, that sounds very static and like final to be like, I don't know what to do. And like, that's just where I am. But like, it's not that. I'm oscillating between, like, my mind is bouncing around like this every single day. And I'm kind of just like, what the fuck? And I feel like I have the answers in front of me. And they do help, but I'm still figuring it out. And I know that's okay. But yeah, that's just, it's kind of where I'm at. And I want to share like some of the answers, whether or not it's something maybe that you like feed into. I pulled some cards. Well, I pulled some and my rabbit pulled some. And it gave me this like, it gave me the answer that I like, you just want to roll your eyes and be like, ugh, whatever, when you hear it. But I want to read them, and that's like a part of why I wanted to do this video, is that like I want to share the things that I have got, just in case like maybe this is like the key that you need and everything's gonna be great for you. And I hope it is. I mean I say that with like a little bit of contempt because I'm jealous if that is, because it's weird and hard to be here. But one of them is this Celtic Tree Oracle guidebook. If you can't tell by my hair, I've definitely got Irish and Scottish roots. And I've been kind of wanting to get into some stuff with like Celtic, like, I don't know enough to like speak on it, but I do know that I have been trying to follow the flow of like the Celtic seasons. We're in the like the lunar seasons. I don't know how it tracks to Chinese lunar calendar times. I do know that it starts like at the beginning of May, and we're in the 5th lunation, the one that I'm born under, which is ash, the ash tree. I don't know how to say it, but it's the N, the letter is N, it's number 5. And I know that the ash tree in Celtic, like symbolism, I guess, is like the world tree. But I read this and I rolled my eyes and I got angry. I was like, of course this is what you're gonna tell me. Anyway, it says, I am the stately Nuin Ash. I have come to tell you that it is safe to dive into your interior world. Here you can receive guidance, healing, and assurance. If you find that you are not moving forward, try to practice patience and keep your intentions clear. Sometimes you are asked to wait for the perfect alignment between the right moment and what you desire. Check in. When you create a strong and loving field, you draw to you what it is you desire, because like attracts like. Sometimes restraint is necessary, as the universe lines up the building blocks for what you must manifest. But I am here to teach you patience and faith. Sometimes you are asked to mend fences or clean up your act before things can fall into place. Forgiving self and others is important. Try to find the time to help someone else. This is the best medicine for a broken heart. And the patience thing really fucking got me, because like, of course you're gonna tell me to be patient. Of course when I'm stressed and I'm worried and I want the answer, you're gonna be like, and then what really rubbed salt into the wound was these 2 things from this oracle deck. I do love this. I haven't used it in a couple years, but then I like started getting visions of like this thing and I was like, okay, I need to pull cards from this. Cool. Awesome. And this one was, as I said, I pulled 2, and then my rabbit, I think they were just like on this couch and he just like pulled 2 out, and I was like, you're a genius. And then I asked him which one out of the 4 was his favorite, and he pulled this one. Made me want to rip my hair out. It's called Chop Wood. And the essential meanings are being grounded in everyday experience and humility. And the oracle message is, there are times when the big dream is meant to lie dormant in your consciousness so that you can pay attention to the simple chores in your life. Consider why pruning a tree is the forerunner of delighting in the beautiful blooms when it is in full blossom. The mundane act of pulling off dead leaves, watering the soil, and then leaving it be to let nature take its course is an important step in manifestation. Taking your attention away from your goal brings you into a state of receptivity. This is the deeper purpose for releasing attachment. When you engage in everyday tasks in a meditative, contemplative way, you clear your energy to receive your aha moments, which bring you ever closer to what you seek. And like in the prosperity message, it's like, move your focus off your big dream and attend to the mundane chores. Focus on the little things that might have piled up. While you're doing that, Spirit will have a chance to move mountains and set wondrous miracles in motions for you. Remain humble and aware of your present. And that makes me want to scream. Because how do I do that? Like, it seems so easy. It seems like the answer's there. It seems like, hey, you just need to keep living. But I have so much doubt. What if that's not enough? What if there is something I'm supposed to be doing? What if also the only way that I'm living at the moment is like, I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be better at like, because the past 2 months I've been, I don't know, I've been like, it's been seesawing. It's been a lot of things. And like a couple, maybe like beginning of August, because I found myself in a pattern of just like always having a podcast on, always having a YouTube video on. I don't pay for music, so I don't listen to music at the moment. But I found myself just in this constant state of noise, because when I would listen to myself, I would just listen to fear and uncertainty, and I didn't want to hear it, and I didn't want to deal with it, and I didn't want to process it. And so like beginning of August, I gave myself car rides to and from work, which are like half hour each way of silence and being able to talk out my stuff. And that was helpful. It gave me some sense of peace. And I also just, I don't know how else to be other than like be in this like kind of survival state and then go into this state of dissociation at the moment. Like I'm just, even if I do the car rides, it gives me this space, and like I have a better chance of like feeling more regulated when I get home. But like still when I come home, I'm like, I live alone and I'm just kind of faced with myself at every turn, and I start freaking out with like what to do with my time. Like if I have a moment of silence, I get really stressed and I go like, what should I be doing? And it's that expectation voice that's in my head, and I don't know what I should be doing. So I just go to like survival stuff. I go to eat food, find some way to like waste your time, listen to a podcast, listen to a like YouTube video. Sometimes I'll be able to stretch to like get the tension out of my body, and then I'll go to bed. And then on my days off, I either just spend the whole day, again, listening to podcasts, listening to YouTube, or I'll try and fill my time with like seeing my partner or seeing my friends, and like I will just avoid myself at every waking turn, because I don't know, because if I go to do something like studying the thing that I want to study, or like, I don't know, like if I'm trying to do something, I just get scared. And I don't know how to process fear. I went through like August last year, because I go through a 12th house transit in August. I processed a lot of grief. I don't know how to process fear at the moment, because there's a lot of it. And doubt. There's a lot of it. And there's been a couple of weekends this month that like, I'll just wake up and I'll just be like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? And when I've been trying to like shrink, because I'm in this, I think, especially this like 12th house thing, it's like, I've gone very introspective, but also very existential. And I think I'm viewing my life every day through this like wider perspective, this like wider sense, this broader sense of like every little thing you do is amounting to this big goal. So every little thing you do should be perfect, and every little thing you do means something. And there's this immense sense of pressure that I'm putting on myself that it feels like I can't help but feel, even though I know that's not true. And so I'll wake up, and there's been 2 weekends in particular where I've just had a bit of a spin out morning of like, what am I doing? What's meaningful? What's purposeful? What's productive? What's like, what is it? And my mind, I feel better than I felt in March and April. I felt really good, but this impending sense of purpose has imbued this sense of like responsibility and like want to take action and want to like do things right and be good and be perfect and make sure I'm making the most of it and make sure I'm not letting myself down. And all of that is so heady, and I can't combat it. Like I can't like the study stuff, like I've got a lot of wounding around study. Like I've dropped out of 2 university degrees. I've like not really seen myself be somebody that knows how to study in a way that's like effective and like learns much, or like I'm in debt because of it. There's a lot of harshness in my mind and like past experiences that I have to like come up and deal with that I just can't, like I just can't. I'm just not mentally there. I'm not mentally ready. I don't feel like I'm ready. And I've had these freakouts, and then I drop back into like, okay, remove the existential quality. What can you do with this Saturday? What can you do with this one day that's just going to make you feel okay? And it would be like I'd cook myself breakfast, I'd put on some washing, I'd have a shower, I'd tidy my house, I'd cleanse my space, I'd text a friend, I might meet up with them, and I would have such a normal day, and I would finish the day feeling so good and so at peace. And then I'd also just feel like, what the hell? Why are you doing that? Like, I'm really grateful. I've had a really beautiful friend of mine who, when I was talking about this, she was like, we can study together. And I truly cried. I cried when she told me that, because I was like, you have no idea. She's actually coming over later today, so we're doing a study thing. I was like, you have no idea how supportive that feels. And I think that's one of the things is like, I'm also trying to combat this like Puritan streak inside of me that's like, you're in this really like potent moment that like things are really meaningful and blah blah blah. Again, I'm making this so much bigger than it really needs to be in the grand scheme of things. I'm putting pressure on myself, and like I understand that this isn't like the way that I should be thinking, but if you're like creativity, like if you're someone that like engages with that in life, maybe you've encountered that shadow of like, in order for me to create something and for it to be authentic, it should be wholly and truly my own. This like Puritan kind of thing. And I didn't realize how much of that was also impacting this process of just like the relief that I felt when my friend was like, we can just study together. I was like, holy shit. Yes. Thank you. Like, thank you. And like the weight that was lifted off my chest through understanding that like I could involve other people in this process. It doesn't have to be all me, especially in this point that I feel like I'm at where I can't tackle things on my own. And also realizing that like it feels, there's a part of me that feels like it's a waste of my time to nurture myself, to try to become something more. Because there is a deep part of me that doubts that it will ever happen. And so I think friends and like loved ones are like gonna help combat that, but like I also don't know how to like, I don't know how to face that. And I know it's like knowing won't, even if I knew, it wouldn't help. I think that is like just a process that I have to go through of like facing this thing of like, When am I going to reach the point that avoiding myself and pushing it off is no longer viable? When am I going to reach the point where this dream feels important enough for me to override this fear and this doubt and this emptiness around like belief and success that I have? Like, I don't know when, and it's up to me to just maybe begin that process, but like it feels I'm at an edge, I'm at a threshold of vulnerability, of like pushing myself to expand beyond what is just like surviving and being content. And like that's just kind of where I feel at the moment. And to be told that like all I need to do is just like live day to day and like be like the other 3 cards I pulled were like clean it up, mending, and higher power. And it's like, how do I know? How do I know that just like chilling out and like keeping my intentions clear, oh, if I listen to my core, I know it's true. But like, what if it's not? Anyway, I don't have an answer. Like, that's the other thing, is that like I don't have an answer. I don't have and I don't know that I want one, because I think every single time I seem to have an answer for anything, it doesn't actually help. It just gives me another thing to think about. And I know there is this deeper sense in me that like hears all of this, and it's that quiet voice, it's the intuition that just like is like, that is the answer. You are safe, you are okay, you can do this. Like, you have everything you need inside of you. It's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. You are on the right track. Trust that. Trust yourself. Trust that who you are is enough. And if it's enough right now, it'll be enough in the future, and it'll be enough. And life isn't ever really going to happen in this, like, all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're actualized into the most high vibrational part of yourself. Like, that's not what I'm imagining it, but like this person in this vision of mine that just feels confident, and she feels sure of herself, and she sees her impact, and she feels warmed by it, and like proud of herself and accomplished, and like she knows that she's helping people and making like positive change. Like, that part of myself that I'm like, God, I want to be her. Like, I want that for myself, and I want that for the people that I'm going to help. And I'm not just going to wake up one day and be that. And I wish I knew how to just become that. But I think that's like a part of the whole process, is that like you're not supposed to know, you're supposed to be on the journey and blah blah blah. Anyway, I'm trying my best. I wish I could have an answer. I think I will in the future. But this is not supposed to be a video of answers. This is supposed to be a video of like, hey, if you feel similarly, you're not alone. It is confusing, and it's so scary to care about something, and it's so scary to want something, and it's so heartbreaking to realize the level of self-doubt that's holding me back from all of this. Like, it's really sad that I don't believe in myself, and that I feel so much fear when what I'm trying to achieve is something so beautiful and so positive and so amazing. Yeah. I had like one last card that I wanted to read out, which is the To Be Fair card, which is like what came out on the bottom. And it's number 38. I think I'm just going to finish with this card because yeah. The essential meanings are balance, justice, a need to consider options, mutual benefit, the law of cause and effect. Oracle messages. Life offers experiences that are challenging and experiences that are nourishing, yet over time they strike a balance. You move from stasis to doing, from discovering to loving to letting go, to being again. Life is a pendulum swinging between all of these states. You will need to oscillate back and forth between doing and being. If you are not content with where you are at this moment, remember that all experiences have their place. Accept them without judgment, and you will see how the universe adjusts in perfect balance. You reap what you sow. For every cause, there is an effect. Wondrous things will be revealed now. And I guess that is like one overarching thing of when I look at myself, I'm way too in my head. I'm not enough in my body. I don't know how to be in my body. I'm fearing it. I'm out of balance. And I'm trying to find balance. And I guess maybe my first step is like stopping the expectation and the judgment of myself right now with where I am. And trying to combat this self-avoidance and this fear, which I'm very grateful for my friends and my partner and my family, because they're really helping with that. In a time where I feel like, yeah, I'm in this liminal, malleable state, this threshold where I know my brain, my mind is just trying to keep me safe because my life is so safe. My life is so beautiful. Why would I want to risk it? Why would I want to risk this? But I know why, and it's so beautiful. It just feels like, yeah, trying to force myself to jump off a ledge it feels like I'm looking at the ledge and like what I'm looking at is like a beautiful trampoline that's just like easy and gorgeous, but like there's something inside of me that's still holding me back that I need to figure out. Anyway, if you're anywhere in the realm of like in the same spot, I feel you. Oh, I feel for you. And I hope we can get through this together. Even not like together, in the same wave. Maybe not. Maybe you'll figure it out like tomorrow. I know what I need to figure out, and that's my car. I don't have a car. I used to have a car. I don't right now. In fact, I think my boyfriend is going to come pick me up because I need to groceries. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for giving me your time. Thank you for spending your time with me. Thank you for your patience, no doubt, that I'm pretty sure you had to have. Yeah. Thanks for choosing to spend your time with me. I know what it means. And I hope something felt good here. That's like mainly my goal. Even though it is like me like stressing out and worrying the whole time. Commiseration. Maybe. Hopefully. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there.